Let's continue researching your options. It's always important that you get to check your options as part of the procurement team. Once identifying suppliers, once the need for a purchase has been identified and described, the procurement manager begins to investigate the market and identify potential sources for the materials needed. If the need is for routine items, there may be a little investigation needed, especially where the procurement and supplier relationship is strong. On the other hand, new items or those with a high purchase price can require considerable research. If more than one supplier has potential, the procurement manager can start a process of competitive bidding. This often takes a form of a request of qualifications or RFQ, request for proposals, RFP, negotiation, and combination of these processes. Depending on the items required, this process can take significant time. Added complexity can arise if items are located offshore, where transportation times, tariffs, and trade agreements all come into consideration. The procurement manager understands these issues, and remains keenly aware that just because they may not know the rules of trade in particular area, that's no excuse for breaking them. All right. When I was in the construction industry, I remember we would create tenders. Uh, that is like we were bid for a project. The government would give certain projects in certain location. The company that I worked before, we were making roads, mga kalsada, and highways. So there is a connection between the city and some rural areas. They're trying to connect it. For the longest time that I've worked in that industry, I know for a fact that the whoever wins, whoever has the least amount, yung pinakamababa na bidding wins the project. Kung sino may pinakamababa na who has the least amount of cost in all the production, may it be in materials, may it be with the manpower and the time. That's my experience. Competitive bidding was also mentioned there. So say, for example, there will be 5 major construction companies that are doing the same projects. They will bid for that. They will give you a timeline. Usually, the least timelines that we will be doing is 3 months to 1 to 3 months. In that time frame, we have to produce the tender for us to request for, to bid for the project. You get it? Competitive bidding. So all the details should be there, all the information. But I tell you again, the least amount gets the project. Always. Issuing the purchase order. Once supplier has been selected, the procurement department issues numbered purchase orders. The purchase order is clearly worded and carefully prepared, since it becomes a legal and binding contract. If engineering qualifications, a statement of work, deliverables, or additional documents are required, they all needed to be referenced or part of the purchase order. The purchase order also has to include delivery and shipping information, price, quality, and all the necessary dates. Finally, the template should include information about the contract acceptance, delivery performance, like a fine or price reduction for each day that they deliver is late. Shipment projection, compliance with the law, warranties, what happens in subcontracting patent trades, and anything else is specific to company or industry. Each company develops its own documentation according to its needs. It's up to supplier to read and acknowledge these terms. Sabi dyan, each company develops its own documentation. It depends on the industry. The industry in logistics or in construction would have a different kind of documentation. That's why in the construction, they would have document controller. Diyan ba sa company nyo, Rusty, may document controller ka dyan o ikaw na rin ang document controller?
Kami na rin po ang dati meron po kaso
Yes.
tinanggal. So,
Tipid.
kami na nagdo-document. So,
anong system niyo for documentation? Excel file or ano na, shared files na lang din?
Ewan ko po kung na-upload namin sa system sa ERP.
Yes. So meron kayong system to do that. And also shared folders. Meron kayong shared folders dyan na may access sa main office o hanggang dyan lang kayo sa cabin?
Hanggang dito lang po kami.
Yes, yes.
Hindi na po kami gumagamit ng shared folders na
kunyari, lahat ng, kasi when I was in planning team, may access ako, even I'm in the site eh. So nakukuha ko yung mga files na yun galing sa main office kasi ako yung nagdadagdag doon. I would be collecting reports from certain departments at the same time. I would be doing daily, monthly, weekly reports. Ano pa ba yung mga nare-record? Commodity reports, yung mga ganun pa eh. There's a lot of reports.
Sa head office, so mag-isa lang siya. So siya siguro nagko-compile ng mga ano lahat.
Yes, so he would ask. Anyway, mainly in documentation, that would be his main job. Issuing a change order. If the order is placed and then a change is deemed necessary, the purchaser issues a change request, and it follows the same procedures as original order. Once accepted, the change order can either supplement or replace the original purchase order. Change orders can be created by the supplier if they are unable to meet the demands of the purchase order. It's wasting time. In the first place, if we will do things right, in the first place, we don't have to process a change order. Bear that in mind. So we have to be very careful when it comes to making our requests. Invoice auditing. Read this for me, Faith, please. Invoice auditing.
Invoice auditing. Anywhere that people work, there is potential for errors. The more electronic that our warehousing and inventory processes become, the fewer errors we see. But a mistake can and will occur from time to time. To make sure that the purchaser is comfortable with paying for the materials they actually receive, it's important to have a process where the invoice and shipment are both reviewed together. This is often typically required by the accounting department as well.
Yes. For that, it says the more electronic. So it is really important that we get to, invest in IT when it comes to making our records, because it says there few were errors we see, but mistaken will occur from time to time, but it is few, less mistake. Continue. The
purchaser determines whether the quantity, quality, and types of materials ordered were received, and then they submit the invoice for processing. Auditing invoices and shipments can seem repetitive or mundane, so it's best to find someone who enjoys that level of attention to detail and let them get it done quickly and efficiently. This is not the type of job you can You can that's it, since your materials could indeed find themselves on the way out of the shipping bay and into the office before they get counted.
Mm-hmm. It's the job of the purchaser to make sure that what he purchased, what you paid for, the money that come out from the company is equivalent to what you have gotten. Kailangan equal siya, no? You paid for this amount, this is what you purchased, it is in the documents, then that's what you need to get. Kung sobra, okay. Kung kulang, dyan nagkakaroon ng problema. Lagi naman ganun, di ba? Pag sobra, okay tayo. Pero kapag dyan kulang, dyan tayo maghahabol. Alright. So that would be for page, anong page yan? 8.